Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are going to take a little snow walk through the garden. First snow of the season before Thanksgiving. I don't remember the last year that we've had snow this early. We won't have it for long though. It's supposed to keep pouring today, but it's going to warm up, so it'll turn into rain here pretty quick. In fact, it's pretty soggy. If you look right here, I mean, it's definitely wet. But we always like to do at least one snow garden tour a season, just so you can see some really beautiful winter interest things, just to see how important they are in the garden and how they can really make it beautiful in the off season, at least for those of us in climates where we get snow. So I wanted to start right here just because you can see behind the Hartley, you can see all of the beautiful evergreens behind the pond, and really this area as a whole. We got quite a lot done in this space in terms of the pots with the beautiful boxwoods, and then the boxwoods planted around the exterior, as well as this right here. I do plan on doing a Christmas arrangement in this container, and it will probably be clear of snow by the end of the week. But anyway, we do have some boxwoods around that, and the fountain base itself is really pretty. You'll notice that our roses, I mean, they're still, this is a Julia Child. Look at this. Still have some buds hanging on. The foliage still looks amazing. So I don't anticipate that hanging around for too much longer. But roses typically in our zone 6 stay decent looking for a good portion of the winter, some years more than others. I love the pines. So these are an Oregon green Austrian pine in the containers on each end of the Hartley, and I think this was such a fun change. We had the Norway spruce trees in here last year, and they're more of, the classic cone shape, but I love this architectural sort of interest that this brings to the space. And then you can also see the red pansies and kale underneath, especially on the more protected side of the pots. Those just hold up to cold weather beautifully. We also have some fall still going on here. This is the last bit of fall. I was going to hang on until around Thanksgiving to pull some of our fall decorations, but I think it might be time. That evergreen right there is a Leyland cypress. And I remember when we moved in, maybe we have some footage of how big it was, but I don't know, how big do you think it's grown since we moved in?
Quite a bit. It was suffering for quite a while. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I don't think it had proper water.
It was kind of brown.
It was. And I think once you worked out the water underneath it, it has really put on a lot of growth. And then, looking out over the Persephone garden, seeing the boxwood structure in there, and then of course the statues and the silhouettes of the trees is so beautiful. And that's one of the reasons why we do not cover our concrete, which will shorten the life, definitely, of your concrete pieces. But because we have kind of longish winters, like at least 5 months of the year, our gardens are kind of sleeping, to have those sort of pieces in the space really makes it beautiful, and I think it's worth it to keep them out so we can see them during those months. Okay, I really want to focus over here on the pond area because it is so gorgeous. Oh, this morning when we were out here, just wanted to hang out and turn on the fireplace out here. You can see the, I think these are called summer Sprite crab apples. There's a few little orange berries in there. These didn't produce as many berries as some of our others do, or crab apples, I should say. But they've got beautiful golden colored ones. They had a lot last year. I don't know what the difference is there. Our October Glory maple still has a bunch of orange leaves in it. But this has added so much. It's so pretty right here. If you come this way, Erin, and maybe show a view of the front of her toward the Hartley, so gorgeous. I love it. It just fits this area perfectly. I remember when I did this project this summer, I kind of second guessed myself, almost didn't even start the project because I thought, oh, I don't know if this is gonna be the right scale. It ended up being perfect. Douglas, you along for the ride today, dude? Ooh. Oh, did you see that? He swiped at my feet. All right, let's take a look at the stream. I mean, it is so beautiful. I was kind of hoping to get in there and get some of those plants groomed. I probably will still do that, maybe toward the end of the week when it's warmed up a little bit more. I do notice that we have a little bit of string algae right up here starting to form up, and I'll gather as much of that as I can. But overall, it stayed pretty clean. And I think that started to happen when we started to have leaf drop, and the leaves kind of decompose in the water and add, is it nitrogen in there?
Not sure.
As they break down, I don't know, whatever. Whatever the string algae likes. So hopefully we'll just keep that problem under control now that we know a little bit more about how to keep the algae out. And a few of these big trees are lit up, which we of course can't see at the moment. But like, does this one have lights, Aaron? I don't think so. I think it's that next big one. And then there's 2 or 3 more around the back side of the pond that have Christmas lights on them. And the big Norway spruce has white lights, which we will do a Christmas light tour here soon. Okay, let's go this way. The Princess Diana serviceberry, do you see those orangish red leaves up there? I love those. But the more established side of the pond, I mean, you can see all of the gorgeous things in here. There's the, is that a winter thur viburnum? Can't remember exactly what variety, but you can see the viburnum berries there. We haven't done any perennial cutback. You can see the miscanthus. This will lift back up once the snow. In fact, you'll notice some of our arbs and boxwoods are all laying flat because this is a pretty wet snow. And then look what it did to the black hot grass. It just splays it out. So that is a really good example as to why you may want to cut back your taller ornamental grasses in the fall as opposed to spring. Because a lot of times, if they're not a really stiff or strong grass, they'll just flop over with the snow, and then they never stand back up after they are this bent over, and they become a real soggy mess. These kind right here typically have a little bit more strength. Just depends. Sometimes you have to experiment to just determine which ones will hold up to it. But see that? That's so pretty.
I think our waterfall is struggling.
You know, I wonder if it's the grass up there that's flopped over, or
No, I'll bet it's the
filter.
the filter, or not the filter, but the, what's that called?
Skimmer.
The skimmer.
We need to empty that.
Here, let's do
Maybe.
it real quick.
Oh, well, Aaron's running over there. Look at the rest of the beautiful evergreens back here. Oh, such a good investment in any space, I think. Can we take a look down in there? Oh, yeah. Oh. It's already running better. Oh, geez, look at this view right here. This that you're seeing all splayed flat on the ground, that's Joe Pye weed, and that'll probably need to be cut back as well here pretty quick. Need to work on this space right here. Snow really highlights the areas that you've worked on and areas that you haven't. It also highlights areas that desperately need winter interest. So I remember when I worked at the garden center and I was doing garden designs for customers, I would tell them it's a really good idea to go out and take pictures periodically, like maybe once a month or whatever. Some people did it more often, just to see what areas shine and what areas you're lacking color or interest in. And then visit the garden center too on a continuous basis so that you can see what things look amazing throughout the whole year. So you can pop some of those things into every space of your garden. So like right in here, I'd love to have some ground cover type evergreens that provide a little bit more structure in here. We've planted a lot of things though. You can only go so fast, right? That is a Dakota pinnacle birch right in there. I think that one's got a spread maximum of 10 feet, so 5 foot on center. I think that'll fill in that gap beautifully. You can see little chamomile flowers. Aaron, look how cute. Look. Oh, it's like the best smelling thing ever. I love those. Okay, I love the boxwood pillars we planted too on either side of the benches. I think those are a good look, and they'll look increasingly good as they mature a little bit. So this gorgeous out here today. I love it. Arbs in the pots by the barn look good. Oh yeah. Look at the winter interest along this berm. And the blue spruce right up close here. Also the wheelbarrow is adding a tremendous amount of nice winter interest there in the flower bed. Before we head over to the berm, I want to look at this red barren crabapple. These are definitely persistent. I had that question when I planted this tree. I could not remember if this variety had persistent crabapples, which means they hold on until new growth pushes them out. And that's the kind of crabapple I normally lean toward because they don't drop on the ground and make a mess. They stay and they look beautiful like this. throughout the winter months, and they also provide food for birds. So birds usually clean them up before they even have a chance to drop to the ground, which is amazing. Okay.
Yeah, look at that.
I know, isn't that phenomenal? Even the little blue spruce at the very end. I don't know if we want to walk all the way over there. And then our gorgeous high tunnels.
And place that.
The spring grove arborvitaes look really pretty along that fence line. I cannot wait until they grow up. They are just such a pretty tree. Let's head this direction. There's the little well house. I wonder if I should pop, because you can see this from our lane. I can't really pop a wreath on there. We're gonna paint these white to match the building. It'd be fun if this door was facing a direction we actually saw. Wouldn't that be so charming with a little wreath on it?
Oh yeah. You should pop your head in there and see if it's warm.
Oh. Oh yeah. It feels like you're inside.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't want to let the heat out though. That's awesome. Okay, look at all these trees. 3 spruces right here. There's kind of like a gray-green, a green, and a blue. Then we've got that blue angel weeping deodar cedar right here. I love that tree. And you know, our neighbors, they've got all their, this is like the most festive corner of our city. Everybody around this area puts up a ton of Christmas lights, and our neighbor has one of his trees uplit with a green light, and it illuminates ours too, which is so fun. Okay, then we've got an Austrian pine, another great big blue spruce, another pine here. I love this spruce tree so much, this green one. The shape of it's gorgeous.
Was that the one that needed to be straightened?
It was the one that was all tipped, yeah. And they did a great job. It looks perfect. And then there's a blue spruce, a pine, and another blue spruce, and a plum. I don't think we need to walk all the way down that way. I think you guys get the idea. All right, let's head to the west side. Oh, how are your hands?
Good.
Aaron's got heated gloves on today.
I actually don't have the heat on, and I'm even a little hot right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Our weeping willows seem to hold their leaves for a really long time. This one still has a number of leaves up in it. The structure of that golden rain tree, if we just stand right in front of it and look toward the Hartley, that's one of my favorite views, like this right here. Remember that year? I don't know, it was multicolored, but we did the floral wrap just up the trunks of this tree, and it was so beautiful. I just love that tree. The raised bed garden is really pretty in the wintertime. Now our arborvitaes.
Oh man.
Oh. So because this is going to turn into rain, we probably don't need to worry about it. But usually in a snow like this, we have to come in with a broom. Look at that. And knock all the snow off. And it fixes them. They go right back up. But boy, it looks scary. I remember do you remember the first time, Aaron, when we saw that? We were like, oh, is it gonna wreck all of our trees?
I think what you have to be careful of is that it doesn't turn to ice.
Right.
That's when it starts breaking things.
So maybe I'll get out here with a broom, or maybe you'll get out here with the broom today. One of us will get out here, probably. Actually, I could work on boxwoods while you work on arborvitaes. Yeah, it's incredible how quickly it fixes. They just tend to be a little bit on the weak side. There's some Ambridge rose. Look at this. Isn't that pretty? I'm always searching roses right now because sometimes you can find protected roses inside the shrub, and you can still cut them and use them in arrangements. Oh, I can almost not stand this. Like I almost need to stop and take care of these poor trees. Oh. But the winter interest is crazy over here. It looks amazing with all the boxwoods on both sides, the arborvitaes, and then of course the benches. These are red point maples here in each boxwood well, and then the urns too add an incredible amount of interest. You see the boxwoods right there, the ones that are more exposed, just laying over. There's quite a lot too in the flower beds. In fact, yesterday we were out cutting some things to put in an arrangement to go with some of our heirloom mums. And yesterday I was thinking, boy, we really should get out here and do a tour of late fall interest. And of course the snow came, so I don't know how much interest will be left after the snow is gone. But there's a bunch of beautiful perennial color in here, like with the Midnight Masquerade penstemon. You can see the beautiful color of the stems, that burgundy with the burgundy leaves still hanging on, looking beautiful. That's a Mary Rose right there. My most favorite thing though this morning, I looked out our bedroom window and I saw all the boxwoods in the formal flower garden, and it just solidified the whole project. Or is that validated?
Yeah.
The whole project. I just thought that's exactly why I wanted boxwoods out there. Having winter interest just is a game changer to that space. Limelight hydrangea blooms, I'm on the fence as to whether or not I like them as winter interest, but they do add some texture and color. Okay, we're heading toward quite a lot of winter interest, really. When you look in these flower beds, we haven't really done much perennial cutback. Out here we pulled all the annuals, like all the ones that were in the flower bed by our parking area. All of those are gone. The Chanticleer pear is just now starting to color for fall. It's a really late one, like one of the latest. But you can just see how gorgeous it is when you leave things up, you know. Look at the echinacea with snow on top. That is so pretty. There's still color on our 9-barks here. You know, you can still see, you know, little peaks of the Nepeta. The Arctic Fire dogwoods are the bright red stems. And then we've got the Arctic Fire gold. Monkshood is still in bloom over here. Look at that. These have been a great plant. Poisonous, but great plant. The yellows, the yellow dogwoods, I need more of. They are so gorgeous. Niagara Falls panicum. That's one that probably should be cut back in the fall. You can hardly see it at the moment. It's all weighed down by snow. I wonder if we should go down the pathway. That might be a good direction to take out here. Didn't do a whole lot of development on the inside here, but I feel like we did quite a lot around the exterior. It's just interesting the different ways, or the different, what's the word, direction. Like, it's interesting to see the direction that areas take, because sometimes I'll just kind of get inspired for one small area and I will deck it out while I completely ignore other areas. That's kind of what happens when you don't have an overall plan, which I do not. Look at the Veronica. I think this is the Purple Illusion. Love seeing little peaks of color. Just a real quick swing through here. We have the Weeping Alaskan Cedar that we planted this year. This is a Gin Fizz Juniper there. We've got a Hoopside Blue Spruce. It's got the best color, this tree. And then our Chatalpas. So you might remember that we planted these last year, and then over the course of last winter, they died completely back to the ground. So, I mean, I cut them back almost flush with the ground, and this is how tall they got this year. That's pretty crazy. So we'll see what they do. I mean, I don't know. Their branches have some flexibility, so we'll see if they make it through the winter this year. We planted a few things in here in the way of evergreens. There's a pine in here. The roses are always great for evergreen interests, and then of course this Norway. We've got some quickfire hydrangeas right in here. Boy, I feel like I'm just pinging all over the place. Sorry, Erin. This is the Flavorette Honey Apricot Rose. Still with some beautiful bud color there. Iris right here. I think that was such a pretty texture all the time. And this patch right here did not brown like a lot of iris does. That's a Spring Grove Arborvitae. Doesn't it look pretty with the dusting of snow? And then we've got Spartan junipers right here, along with some annual Craspedia, or drumstick flower. Grew this from seed and didn't have enough room in the flower garden to plant it all, so I popped some out here. Okay, let's head back toward the berries. Okay, coming up on the Boxwood project out here. Look at this space. Now imagine all of these boxwoods being in like hedge form like they are up in the Persephone garden, and the trees getting some size on them. I mean, just try to picture this area. Maybe we have it on video with nothing in it. Benches haven't been here for all that long, and then the fountain is new. So basically this entire area was just a flat nothingness, nothing to look at, which is so, so sad. This is so gorgeous. I love it. It's kind of funny at night, and you'll see when we do the Christmas light tour, all of the lindens do have Christmas lights on them, but they're so thin that they look like spires. 12 spires in this space. The best thing about all this snow and then the rain that's going to come is that it'll keep our plants nicely watered. We had a ton of wind day before yesterday, and look how pretty that is. And I know it'll make some of you like, oh, you know, that it's not covered. But if it was covered, you wouldn't be able to see how gorgeous it is. And it looks equally as beautiful with snow on it as it does with water coming out of it. That was a good ad, I think. There was a moment when we first opened up the boxes and I saw it was the finish. The color finish was way lighter than I thought it was going to be. And I kind of thought, oh no, I don't know if I'm going to love this, but I do. I absolutely love everything about it, color and all. Okay, let's take a swing through the South Garden loop. Look down this flower bed. Look how much winter interest we've got in here. And color, I can see the Proudberry coralberries just shining down there. But we've got sedum in here. We've got iris and hydrangeas. We've got a Vanderwolf pine that we need to clean the needle cast out of. Right there. There's some ornamental grasses, a smoke bush. Here's that coralberry. Look at that color. It's kind of unusual, I think, to see pink poking out from underneath snow. And then along the other side, you know, we've got the weeping Alaskan cedar. There are roses in there and the sedum. Doesn't this look beautiful with the snow on top? We've got an oriental spruce. I cannot remember the exact name of it, right behind this area. And that actually put on a lot of growth this year for the first time. We planted it, 2 or 3 years ago, and it just sat there. Maybe it was 2 years, and this was its 3rd year. So 3rd year they leap is true in that tree's case. Spring groves, I think that is just such a gorgeous tree in the snow. Midnight Masquerade Penstemon, right in here. We did not get to our project in the center. There's always next year, so we will work on it then. The European whitebark birch here is looking awesome. Just cut some stems of that yesterday to put in our arrangement. Look at that, it's like a shining beacon in all the snow with that bright yellow foliage. I love that tree. More echinacea in here, grasses that are all flopped over. We've got a Scotch pine right in there. And then the 4-trunk birch we planted this year, and I love the ad of that. Over here, our bench. And we've got a serviceberry right behind it, and then there's a Serbian spruce back in there, a big Norway. And then a little tiny, is it tiny tot? Is that what they call it now? It used to be tater tot.
One of the two.
I like tater tot a lot. I think I got used to that name. But I like having little accent evergreens too. There's another one right to the left of the bench right there. Just little ones here and there to provide that anchor, that weight in a flower bed. And I really like how this space is forming up. I did plant a black lace elderberry in that open space right back in there that did not thrive, and none of us could figure out what was going on. It had water. I don't know if it just truly shocked when I planted it, but I kind of want that structure back in there to kind of mirror the black lace there. But these are the limelight prime hydrangeas right here. They did great this year. We had the Supertunia Vista bubblegum in front of them that was just, they were like a hedge in and of themselves, like a great big shrub hedge. They got so big. And I love all of the different kind of specimen plants. So we've got the blue sky Serbian spruce back in here. Maybe I'll just walk back in here and point them out. Blue sky Serbian spruce. This is a cinnamon curls birch right here. It doesn't get very big, but it's got beautiful peely bark. There's a gin fizz juniper back in here. Weeping Alaskan cedar. There's another Vanderwolf pine. This is the Royal Raindrops crabapple. Another one with persistent crabapples. They're a lot smaller than the Red Baron in size. They're like a quarter inch maybe, instead of a ½ inch like the others. But this tree is loaded. Looking so fantastic. What do you think about your cypress, Aaron?
You know what? It has a beautiful russet color.
It does. It really contrasts the snow nicely. We should look at the gate too from the front. Oh, It's so pretty. We have made a couple of decisions. We have a couple yet to make too, but look at that. Look at how gorgeous that is. So pretty. Okay, we have our mail vault right here, which we are not keeping here. I think what we are gonna do is have another small hut built that looks like the Wellhouse that also mirrors the flower shed. And we're gonna tuck it right back in this area, and it's gonna have a deliveries sign on it so that we don't have a great big, you know, extra pillar, like a chunky looking thing that'll block your view of what's going on right here. So this will be housed in that. And also we do get some bigger boxes on a fairly consistent basis. And this isn't big enough, you know, to drop those. So we want to put a little space where we can do that. And that means we will still have this arm will be here, and it'll have the keypad and all that stuff on it. But it's so slim that I don't think it'll really visually register. Not like this would, because this would have a whole brick pillar around it. We are doing 3-foot pillars right here, and they will be tall as these here, and then they'll have great big finials on the top. And then our last decision to make, now that we know how the deliveries thing is going to go, we have to decide if we want to do some wings off of the pillars or if we want to do hedging instead, like evergreens instead of more brick work. So we just have to make that decision. But from the looks of it, it looks like we're going to have some time before that's going to matter too much. Just a quick look over the fence. I don't think we're going to walk through all of these, but the winter interest out here is really starting to add up. Everything we've planted out there. I don't know how it translates on camera, but boy, standing here, I'm like, oh, I love it. So fun. Okay, let's carry on. So right over here, we have the DeRuyter's Serbian spruce, and then the little statue that Aaron got for me. I think it was our first Christmas married. So that statue's 18 plus years old at this point. The juniper topiary that we planted out here this spring is looking great. I haven't really kind of thought about it for a while. Isn't that funny? You know, when you do planting projects kind of as your job, you plant a lot of things. And so sometimes I'm driving around or doing a project, I'm like, oh, I forgot I put that in. That looks so awesome. I love it. And it's thriving, thankfully. And this space right here has really got some beautiful things in it. Wichita blue juniper. You know, the Sesky gold dwarf birch trees, or birch shrubs, I should say, really do have a nice network of branching and that cinnamon colored bark. So they hold a lot of snow. You know, they're strong enough to do that, and they contrast it really nicely. There's our mangave. Now I know it kind of seems sad, but once they bloom like that, they start to die. And it bloomed first thing this season. So and it's such a huge, heavy plant, I just decided not to go through the trouble of moving it in when it's just on its way out. But it's still holding its own out here for now. Look at this rose. This is called a state of grace. Isn't that insane? How they hold their leaves so nicely for so long. That nice glossy green. And then in here we've got some anemones. There's a magical globe birch tree right there, another one that doesn't get very big. We've got the back and black sedum in here, more roses, and some spirea. Boy, this looks so different than it did this season. It was just so chock full of pink flowers. The flames willows right here. Aren't those stunning?
You know, the camera doesn't pick it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as bright as they really are in real life.
I wonder if you could show like contrasting my hand here. They really are bright. It's weird lighting though too when it snows like this. It almost looks black and white. I just noticed across the way here, look at the Rudbeckia. Look how pretty that is. They still have quite a lot of color. They just look like dried versions of their former selves. Really pretty. All right. Also, I do still have the Paraspalier. It's still in its box. It's fine. It's fine, everyone. It'll find a home eventually. And then, okay, the Weeping White Spruce is another fave evergreen of mine. I just love the structure of that, and it looks so pretty all the way from the house. It doesn't get lost out here because it's got such a strong form about it. Okay, so I think let's take one last look at the formal flower garden, and then I just want to head up to the Persephone garden real quick before we finish. But isn't that just pretty? I'm just so thrilled with it. I need to get out and spray my fruit trees this week. We have a dry moment. Pretty much all the leaves have dropped, so it's time to do our first spray application. Okay, let's head back toward the house. All right, last little bit of this tour. I always love this view across the Persephone garden to the Hartley. I think that's just so pretty. And I wanted to show you, or point out rather, the yews we just planted. Now, when I planted these, I had 2 right here. Later that evening, we were driving around and I just looked at it and thought, nope, that's too many. I need to pull both of those out and center one of them. So I did that. So now I have 1 extra yew and it looks very balanced. And I love that there are evergreens on this side this winter. Last year we did not have that. So now we have that balanced look and we can just build on this next season. I'm so looking forward to that. Of course, we've got our big blue spruce here and the Jubilee Weeping Alaskan Cedar in there. And we've got some gorgeous fall colors still in this area with the ginger wine 9-bark, and then there's a Gatsby pink oak leaf hydrangea in here. More of the yews. I'm gonna figure out a cover sort of situation for this table and chairs. It's like the one furniture item that we don't have a proper cover for. We do cover our furniture, our patio furniture, because it lengthens the life of our cushions. And cushions, when you have chairs everywhere, that adds up really quickly if you have to replace them every year. So we do try to protect those as good as we can. But this is just such a fun area in here. And this is what I was saying about imagining in the formal flower garden, imagine hedges this big, because this is what we're shooting for. I really like this size. I think it's a really good size for a space that large. And we're talking like roughly 34 inches wide. And I don't know how tall that is, a couple feet, maybe a little bit over that. But yeah, having this sort of evergreens to look at on both sides here is just so beautiful. And then we'll end with this view right here. Looking over the urn with the Russian sage planted around it, still looks beautiful. And then you can still see all of the evergreens behind the pond area. You can still see I've got fall trees out by our door. I haven't done anything for Christmas yet in that space, but honestly, if we come in here, our fall planters still look really pretty. It's really hard to think about swapping these things out, but we've got purple and red pansies, and then a Heucherella, I can't remember what variety this is, and then the Nagoya red kale. But this morning I came out and I was taking pictures and video of like this view right through here. We've got a big Jackmanite birch with the lantern and then the Hartley in the background. With that dusting of snow, it looks gorgeous. And you guys, that is it. That is it for our winter snow garden tour, middle of November. It's crazy. I hope that we get a lot more snow too this year. It would be great all the way around. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one.